Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Boulder. My name is Reverend Dana Lightsey, and I'm the assistant minister here, and I am also the director of religious education here. And it is a joy to be with you as we honor and celebrate the life and legacy of our beloved Jude Stirts. Today, as we hear from Jude's closest friends, you will probably learn something new, and you will remember your own stories and meaningful times together. I wish I could have known Jude. She was the director of religious education here at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Boulder for 12 years, from 1992 through 2004. And as soon as I heard that, I knew she had to be a special person. And I would have loved getting to know her. And it is a blessing and an honor to follow the legacy that she built here at UUCB. As a parting gift, Jude gave a church bell that's in the hallway to the church. And I'm wondering if someone would be willing to ring that for us. John, would you be willing to ring that for us? How about at the very end, when I finish the benediction, you can ring it. Or you can ring it now. That's two. Let's ring it multiple times.
Right out there on the corner. Straight. No, the other, out the door, your other straight.
It's in the hallway. There we go. There we go. Nice. So we will ring this also at the end of the service, hopefully, to remember her as well. Thank you. Jude made it clear that it is supposed to be a celebration today, celebrating her life. Does that sound like Jude? Yeah. And so it will be. And this is also a celebration that comes with heartbreak and grief from the loss of her. A beautiful and kind and unique spirit. She was a spirit of light that touched each person here today, from everything I gather. So, my friends, when grief comes, let it come. It honors your friendship and all you had together. In its own way, grief is high praise indeed. So do not want to run away from grief, pushing it back like it is an illness or something is wrong. Grief is a natural part of life well lived, and tears are welcome here. Grief is a true and honest expression of love. So we come together in grief and in joy and in celebration and in praise to support each other and hold each other with love, just as Jude would have done. Jude's life is over, but there is no doubt that she is still with us. Her legacy of love and kindness shines forth from each of you. There are some people in this world who live their lives with the purpose of bringing more love and light into the world and to shift the balance towards all that is good. Jude was clearly one of those people. She understood and cherished nature, children, beauty, music, teaching and learning, and especially love and compassion. So today, my friends, we are here to hear great stories about Jude's life and to see some wonderful pictures that help us remember her. As we remember her and celebrate her and grieve the loss of her, remember that you are her legacy. If you are related to her, feel that DNA that runs through your veins. And if you loved her, feel the bond of love that is still with you, enriching every breath. And if she was your friend, feel the memories surrounding you like a cozy blanket, always warming you with her wisdom and love and kindness and good cheer. You all are made different, enriched, enlivened, and endlessly blessed because Jude was a part of your life. Love is the most powerful force in the universe. May you be comforted by her love, for it is not leaving you. And may this love continue to flow from you and also bless this world. May it be so, my friends.
I understand that this song is very special to Jude and most likely her friends and family. Hey, Jude. And if you feel like singing along, please do so. Hey, Jude, don't make it bad. Take a sad song and make it better. Remember to let her into your heart, and you can start to make it better. Hey, Jude, don't be afraid. You were made to Hey, Jude, don't let me down. You have found her, now go and get her. Remember to let her into your heart, then you can start to make it better. So let it out and let it in. Hey Jude, begin. You're waiting for someone to perform with. And don't you know that it's just you? Hey Jude, you'll do the movement you need is on your shoulder. Na 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 na. Hey Jude, don't make it bad. Take a sad song and make it better. Remember to let her under your skin. Then you begin to make it better, 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 better. Na 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 na. Hey Jude. Na 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 na. Na na na. Hey Jude. Na 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 na. Hey Jude.
I'd like to invite Carol Brown and then Leela Stirts and Eileen Tobin to come up one at a time and share your thoughts. Thank you. You might mind putting it above the book, helps to see it better.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Hi, my name is Carol Brown. Jude and I lived about 5 miles apart in the western suburbs of Des Moines, Iowa. We first met in grade school, but we didn't really start hanging out together until high school, you know, when you became mobile and dangerous. Our group consisted of many people in and out and everything, but I always felt that the core was Jude and our friend Gay and me, and you know, we brought people with us. I would like to think that maybe we attracted them because we were having so much fun, but we had quite a social calendar in high school. On Thursdays and Saturday nights, we danced away the night at the Valor Ballroom to the Detroit sound of the fabulous Flippers from Omaha. I'm sure you can see it, matching suits, a big brass section doing their thing. Yeah, it was so much fun. And then on Friday and any other night that we could manage, we would stop at King's Food House for a burger and then take off for downtown Des Moines to scoop the loop. Now, I don't know how many Midwesterners are here today, but scooping the loop was extremely important. Everybody in town was there. I had a mint green 1959 Ford Fairlane. It was a tank. It had no power steering, so I was the only one who could drive it. and it just drank gas like crazy. Luckily, gas was 25 cents then, so we could afford to do this. And it stuck out like a sore thumb. I mean, I think you can imagine all the muscle cars. There were the GTOs and Mustangs. I don't even remember all of them. So we did stick out. And I have written down here that we were the bad girls. I don't think that's quite right. I think we were the irritating girls. We didn't take the muscle cars really all that seriously, but we were down there just to meet people, have a good time. We never did the shaving cream thing. I think that's a famous one on the windshields. But there was a night that had water balloons involved. The details are a bit fuzzy, and I think they'll stay that way. But you have to understand, the main problem with my Ford Fairlane is that all it had was a dumpy little FM radio, and that really didn't cut it for our music. And, the electronics at that time wasn't really good. But Jude had a portable 45 record player. It was bright colors and mod colors, if anyone remembers mod. It could play 145 at a time, and she could carry 145 at a time. So she had Jumpin' Jack Flash and Hey Jude. Okay, and we played those over and over all night long. I mean, this was a lovely rendition, but I couldn't help in my mind put in all of John Lennon's flourishes, because it's there and it will never go away. So the thing about these adventures, though, is that I just remember the laughter. We just had the best of times. I'm sure we had our teen angst and problems and everything, but I don't remember them. I remember the laughter. And also, by scooping the loop and going to these big dances and everything, we met people from all over the city, from all walks of life. And I think both of us carried that into our lives, where we were open and we wanted to meet people and find out what their story was. We diverged a little bit after high school, but a few years later, Gay and Jude and her brother David showed up in Boulder and moved in with my roommates at 19th and Pine Street. The house is still there. Of course, it's a multi-million-dollar show home. But when I moved in there, the landlady just looked at me and said, honey, it ain't no heaven up there. But we made it very homey. We painted it, we cleaned it, and it was, our place. One thing about that landlady, she never kicked us out. And I'm very happy she didn't. There were a lot of comings and goings, again, of multitudes of 20-somethings that found their way to our door. I don't think it was that hard, but we had, again, a very good time. We eventually got more serious about life, and again, Gay moved to Houston. I moved to East County, and we would contact a lot during the years, but we finally came back together again, our good friend Jude in Houston. We flew down to visit her, and it was wonderful. It was like we'd never been apart. It was great fun. So, Ann Gay was like that. She would bring people together, and Jude and I then stayed in touch. And I saw a lot of her these last few years, and I miss her. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Leela Stirts. I had the pleasure and the honor of having Jude as my sister-in-law for over 35 years. I was married to her younger brother, David, the one with his arm wrapped around her there. That's Dave. And that's Jude with the glasses right there with the little headband. And that's how I'll always remember both of them. But so you can imagine, I have so many memories of her and so many celebrations and holidays with the family. And she and I were always trying to figure out which house was going to host what holiday, Thanksgiving, Christmas. 4th of July, we'd go out to Longmont, and that's in the times when we could spread a blanket and sit on the fairgrounds lawn and watch the fireworks right there, right off the side of the road. And so many times she and Matthew were with Dave and my two sons. And by the way, I just want to say a thank you on behalf of the family who can't be here. I have my Jude's older brother, my brother-in-law Hugh, and his wife, and their two daughters, and Holly, one of the daughters, has also two daughters. So Jude had a lot of family, and we always tried to get together as often as we could, holiday or not. So we will miss her so much, and every day I think of her, I think of her spirit. She was such a kind-hearted person, always with a willing ear, always willing to listen to me, always giving me such great advice, very, very calming person, just always there for me. I knew I could pick up the phone and she'd pick up and she'd be right there for me, whether physically or just emotionally, to offer me words of support. So I can go on about so many, many reflections, but this is a celebration. One of the things that I always celebrated about Jude was her creativity. I'd always say, my gosh, how do you do this? How do you put together such beautiful colors? And her quilting was just awesome. And so for me, sometimes the word I'd use to describe Jude was just wow. Because the things that she would produce, her quilts, her textiles, she made me a purse one day that was just wonderful. Everything she did was just wonderful. So I just wanted to show you her wonderful creativity and not sit here and blather the whole time that I'm up here. So I just want to end with showing you one of the quilts that she made for one of my sons when he was a baby. And it's called, she trying to put a little tag on it and everything. And it's called Sunflower Picnic. And this was, I think, one of her very first quilts that she ever made. And she kept saying, oh, it's not that good. I've got so many mistakes. And so, wow, Jude, you did great. And we love you and we miss you, but you're always in our hearts. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Eileen, and I'm going to bring you words from somebody else today, words from Debbie Davies, who couldn't be here. She's at another memorial service, unfortunately, for a family member. Jude and Debbie worked together for many years in RE for activities and stuff for the kids, and she is really sorry that she can't be here. But her words are here from Debbie. We were new to both Unitarian Universalism and to UUCB in the early 1990s, myself, Jeff, and our 3 children. Jude was the RE director, and while we learned a lot about what being a UU was all about from her, mostly we learned kindness. She knew how important building connections between people was and always did her best. From pairing youngsters and adults every February for Mystery Friends to hosting a middle school overnight So the kids, before the annual, overnight, the night before the annual Halloween party, so the kids could build a fabulous haunted house in the earth room for the little kids. She fostered connections. Jude had a generous, loving, open heart and loved her son Matthew, her family, and her friends fiercely. Every time I hear the brass bell she gifted to the congregation when she left, I think of her. I love you, Jude.
Jude's son, Matthew, wrote a beautiful poem that I would like to share with you. It's also in the order of service. Of all the hours, remember them well. Oh, I need to tell you why he wrote this. He wrote this to her cat. So Jude had just passed, and he was addressing the cat and letting the cat know that she was gone. And this is what he wrote. Of all the hours, remember them well. The bells and stained glass panes, this journey upon the satin sun, and make ready for another. Oh, much ado, my light, foam on the eventide. I thought I'd sailed these stars, but before on those days of yore. Oh, taken wing by night upon the winter skyline, crystals in the air, but she won't be there this time. Wishes on the wake, dust by broken rhyme. And so, my little one, I'll take care of you. I'll take care of you. Even through the darkness, clouded cotton over the falling sun, on sails of feathered down, on ripples of her gown, but she won't be around. Be brave, my little one, as we sail for another. Remember them well, and always live to tell by the light of your mother. The tall of stained glass panes, small hollows in spring rains, and we'll be back again with each other. Beautiful. like to invite Debbie Lane, Barbara Mulfacey, and Tracy Ellen to come up one at a time and share your reflections. Thank you.
My name is Debbie Lane, and I knew Jude as the RE director here, and we worked together many times. She really helped me believe in my ability to work with kids and taught me many things, little tricks about working with kids, and I just want to say thank you because that spirit has continued to stay with me and carry me through. I still work with kindergartners and first graders. I'm now a storyteller, and I thought of Jude yesterday when I went into the classroom to tell the kids the story about being a cracked pot, because we're all cracked pots. And Jude taught me that, and that's where the beauty is, in our cracks and our flaws. That's where the light shines through. So Jude, thank you. Thank you for being a part of my life.
Well, I met Jude in 1999 when I came to this congregation as an intern minister. And in Colorado, most people have never heard the name Malfasi because it is Italian, and 200 plus Malvases are in Buffalo, New York, but only our little branch is in Colorado. But Jude had heard of Malvasi because my husband, John, had a basement office off of the Pearl Street Mall in the 1970s, and he did astrology, and he read Jude's birth chart. So she asked if I were related to that Malvasi, and yes, and Jude had lived in a teepee up off the Peak to Peak, and John was a longtime resident of Ward. So those were kind of a memorable era before I moved here. So I used to be a second grade teacher, and part of my internship was to learn about religious education. And I saw right away Jude was one of those incredible people. I have only met a handful in my lifetime who have a special gift with children. And she was always interested and really listening and attentive, taking kids seriously. But she had such a presence and a manner that she didn't need to yell or discipline or things the rest of us resort to. And so part of my internship was helping her with children's chapels and lessons. And another friend, Debbie Grove, taught the kids in the religious education program how to make compost tea. And we had a big compost pile and let the tea brew till it got really strong, and then poured it all over the compost for the garden. So there were so many wonderful things I know that Jude did. I was still working but she used to talk about a group of friends who would take turns cleaning each other's houses. So one week they'd go to one house and have friends to talk to and work together, and the next week somebody else's. So the memory I most want to share was after the church went through a rough period and couldn't afford Jude or Meg Prio, who was the office manager, and that was a really rocky time. But Jude did apply to SSDI, Social Security Disability, and the first time everyone gets denied, but then you get an attorney and reapply. And when she had her second hearing, I picked her up. We drove to Denver. We got there early so we wouldn't feel stressed. We had time for coffee and a pastry, and then we went to the courthouse. And the room was kind of softly lit like this one. Not a lot of people. Jude sat in a chair at the front, and the judge and the clerk and maybe her attorney, a couple other people, but it was very still. And I was watching Jude's face as she was explaining fibromyalgia, how painful and disabling that was, what a struggle she had had. And I watched the judge, and the judge saw this person is genuine. She really needs and deserves this Social Security benefit. So Jude was really anxious. She had so much riding on this. But as I watched, I saw the judge, saw the real person. And so it was approved. She got a big retroactive check and bought this incredible sewing machine and made all kinds of wonderful things. But what a good person, truly good person, who was always understanding and accepting of everybody. And what a good friend. So be at peace, Jude.
Hi, I'm Tracy Ellen. I feel really blessed to have had Jude as my friend the past 40 years. My life has certainly been richer and more fun because of her. She was an amazing woman and a truly wonderful companion throughout this life. She loved life and embraced it fully and with zeal. In the 80s, we had the opportunity to go to enjoy camping, hiking, rock hounding, spelunking, skiing, and exploring Colorado together. And it was a blast. Eventually, both our lives moved along varied paths. She gave birth to her precious son, Matthew, and she worked at UUCB. We were always in touch and enjoyed each other's company when we could. She introduced me to sewing and quilting, at which she was very creative and skilled. She delighted in nature and all its wonders and magic, and we spent as much time as we could enjoying it, making a trip to the mountains when the aspen changed, just one of our regular yearly events. 6 years ago, she told me about her terminal cancer diagnosis. We talked of life and death, and she told me one of her very favorite quotes was from Ram Dass: "We are all walking each other home." We made trips to oncology an excuse to go do lunch and have some fun. So, you know, she was very good at making light. I'm grateful for that time we had to spend together. She handled her diagnosis with optimism, grace, and her usual sense of humor. I visited Jude a couple of days before her passing. Asking how she was, she smiled and said, "Good," and described how she was drifting in and out of consciousness, and that dying wasn't as bad as she thought it was going to be. She passed peacefully that Friday evening at home with Matthew, as she had wanted. I also had asked if there was anything I could do for her. She said she wanted us to have a party. She wanted a party. So here we are to have Jude's party and celebrate Jude's life. So I'm glad you're all here. I'm going down that way.
Many times I've been alone, and many times I've cried. Anyway, you'll never know the many ways I've tried. And still they lead me back to the long, winding road. You left me standing here a long, long time ago. Don't keep me standing here. Lead me to your door.
What a joy it has been to hear about Jude and to hear your stories. And I'm sure during our reception, there'll be many more stories happening. And I look forward to hearing from all of you. I keep coming back to the metaphor of light, that Jude shared her light of love, her light of creativity. I love that. That was great. And that she blessed each and every person with her light. And of course, in Unitarian Universalism, we have the light of our flaming chalice. And nowadays, I don't know how she did it back when she was DRE. You'll have to tell me later. But we end with these words that we talk about extinguishing the light of the chalice. But first, we take an action. So I invite you to do this with me. You're going to take this, just let yourself be a child again for a moment. You're going to take this light and you're going to tuck it into your heart before we blow the candle out. Because this is truly where that flaming chalice resides and lives. And this is the flaming chalice that Jude is a part of. So as we extinguish this chalice, we carry the light of love of this beloved community in our hearts, now and always. Oh, may all beings be well and happy. May all beings be free from strife. May all beings return to